just had a call from Chief Warder Hargreaves. There's been some trouble at an archaeological site at the Tower of London.
What happened, A&M?
From what Mr. Hargreaves says, it looks like one of the people excavating the site has stolen some of the valuable artifacts, right from under the noses of the guards.
Wow, let's get over there and see if we can help the Beefeaters corner the culprit. Look, they're excavating right here in the middle of the tower grounds. I wonder what they're looking for.
Thanks for coming, Jennifer. I knew I could count on you to help out. If word got out about this theft, it would be very embarrassing for all of us here at the tower. We try to be very selective about whom we allow to excavate or dig up the historical areas at the tower. All of our archaeologists are world-famous experts. Some of them are celebrities in their field. We've spared no expense in putting them up. They're staying at the Ritz Hotel. I can't believe that one of them would stoop so low as to steal any of the coins found at the site. I suppose the lure of the ancient gold was too much. I only hope that this can be taken care of before I'm forced to alert Scotland Yard.
I've been supervising the excavation since it began on Monday. All three of the archaeologists left at 5 p.m. yesterday, as usual, but when I went over the inventory last night, I noticed that some of the rare gold coins we found were missing. They were uncovered around 2 p.m. yesterday, and all of the archaeologists were terribly excited. I remember one of them said the coins date back to the very beginning of the Roman rule of Britain.
The Romans once ruled Britain? The same ones that ruled the Roman Empire?
The very same. You can pop by the British Museum's library to read up on that if you like. The archaeologists are digging up these artifacts so that we can learn more about the early days of Romans in Britain. I didn't get a chance to see the coins myself when they were found, but when I made a quick check of the inventory last night, I saw that Mr. Smythe had written coins worth 100 denarii on his find list, but we only have 4 coins.
Wow, these coins are heavy. They must be made of solid gold.
That's right, Jennifer. That's part of why they're so very valuable.
Claved. Weird. I wonder what that stands for. Uncle Basil's pal, Mr. Sneed, knows everything about everything. He'll be able to bring us up to speed on the Romans in Britain.
Chief Warder Hargreaves just rung up to warn me that you two will be skulking about. I'm much too busy unpacking our newest encyclopedias to look up information for you. But you're welcome to look through the books on Rome I pulled out for you. You might want to step into the Greco-Roman exhibit at the museum too. I hear that an expert on ancient Rome is lecturing there today. It is fascinating to think that Britain was once part of that magnificent Roman Empire. Even today, you can see evidence of the Roman influence. Our language and alphabet are closely related to Latin, the language of the ancient Romans. Many of the roadways we use today were once Roman roads. Even the number system used on the back of this encyclopedia set is Roman.
I've seen letters like that at the end of movies and stuff. I always wondered, what do they mean?
These are Roman numerals. The Romans wrote down numbers using the letters I, V, X, and C, and so forth. I stood for 1, V for 5, X for 10, and C for 100. The order of the letters is important. For example, X equals 10, but IX equals 9, 1 before 10. XI equals 11, 1 after 10.
This encyclopedia volume is marked IV. What's that?
IV must stand for 1 subtracted from 5. 4. The Roman numerals say this is volume number 4.
This book on rare coins should be able to tell us a little bit about the coins found at the tower. Wow! 26,000 pounds! That's about $40,000! Here's the stack of books Mr. Sneed left for us. Which one of these should we look through for information about the Romans in Britain?
Which of these books do you think will tell us most about the Romans?
That's right. We'll get the scoop on the Roman invasion from the World History book. Great idea! The museum has a whole section on the Romans. Let's see what we can find out there. These statues were collected from Greece and Rome. They're over 2,000 years old.
The fresco itself shows a scene from the Greeks' battle with the Amazons. Note how perfectly the sculpture has carved each rippling muscle.
Fascinating, Mr. Bentley. Your knowledge about the ancient Greek and Roman civilizations boggles the mind.
Of course it does, Frescura. These details take years to learn, and a brilliant eye for art takes a lifetime to perfect. I feel confident in telling you that my understanding of ancient history is unmatched in our century.
I must say I am impressed, but I recently read an article by a Mr. William Smith that left me gasping. The man is a genius. His comments on the early days of Roman Britain had me entranced. Such insight.
Smythe, that bumbling booby, you must be joking. The man doesn't know his Apollo from his Dionysus. Why, his incompetence nearly put an end to a dig we had in Mexico. The fool forgot to file the necessary papers to get permission from the Mexican authorities, and we were nearly deported. In fact, I suspect he has somehow bungled this Roman dig at the Tower of London. It may be they postponed the excavation today because of some error of his.
AVGVSTVS? Weird. I wonder how you're supposed to say that out loud.
My dear young lady, the ancient Romans printed the letter U as a V. That inscription reads Augustus Caesar, the name of one of Rome's greatest emperors. Roman emperors were also known as Caesars, you know.
I get it. So the inscription on the coins we saw read Claude, not Claved. That must be short for Claudius.
Coins from the time of the Emperor Claudius. Now some of those are very rare and special indeed. Only yesterday, I myself uncovered 4 such coins, each of them worth thousands of pounds.
Mr. Hargreaves said the 3 archaeologists were staying here. Let's see if the receptionist can tell us where they are.
Yes, Mr. Chin, Mr. Bentley, and Mr. Smythe are all guests of ours. Their stays, however, are being paid for by Her Majesty the Queen through the Tower of London. Now, let's see. I believe the gentleman seated just over there is Mr. Smythe, and Mr. Bentley informed me that he would be giving a lecture at the British Museum this afternoon. I'll just check my log and see if... Yes, Mr. Chin left a note that says he'll be exploring Stonehenge today. He left for Victoria Station just over an hour ago.
Dash it! I despise the fact that this day is being wasted. I should be over at the tower digging up artifacts, not here at the hotel sitting on my hands. What on earth would possess them to stop the digging now? I say some treachery must be afoot. It's that rascal Chin, no doubt. Perhaps he's found a way to get Bentley and I booted from the project. That way he'd be able to take all the credit for the find himself. And what a find it is! Just yesterday we uncovered a cache of gold coins worth 100 denarii. That's terribly valuable in itself, but being from the time of one of the earliest Roman invasions makes them even more important. I myself am planning to publish a paper on the find, and I'm not going to let some prank of Chin's stop me.
What makes you think Mr. Chin pulled some kind of trick?
Oh, the man's impossible! I've had dealings with him before. Last year we were excavating a site in Egypt when one of our workers fell ill. Chin gave an interview to the press claiming that the curse of the mummy had struck. I believe that man would do anything to get his name in the papers.
I wonder why Mr. Chin just took off for Stonehenge all of a sudden. Maybe he's got something to hide. The guidebook says that Stonehenge is near Salisbury. Stonehenge is supposed to be one of the most mysterious prehistoric ruins in the world. The train to Salisbury will take us to Stonehenge. Let's see if we can catch up to Mr. Chin there. Stonehenge is so cool and spooky. I get the major creeps when I think about how old it is. I wonder if that guy talking to the guard is Mr. Chin.
Mr. Chin is one of the most interesting visitors we've had in these parts in ages. He certainly knows his ancient history. We've been having a good long chat about the Romans and what their impressions of the British must have been all those centuries ago. I always heard the Romans thought Britain was a wild place full of magic and mystery. They were none too keen to meddle with us at first. The early British were savage men from the forest. It must have seemed exceedingly strange to the civilized types from Rome. There was one tribe I heard tell of called the Picts. That must have scared the Romans something fierce. They were wild men from the north, and when it came time for battle, they covered their bodies with a strange blue paint from a plant called woad. That must have given those Roman soldiers quite a fright.
Yes, I am Mr. Chin. I was honored to be invited by the British government to take part in excavating the ruins of the Roman city wall at the Tower of London. I must confess, the opportunity was tempting enough to convince me to work with that fraud John Bentley once again.
Mr. Bentley? Why do you call him a fraud?
It does not speak well of man for him to speak ill of his fellows. But I will not hide the fact that I believe John Bentley's work to be sloppy and careless. We once worked side by side on the Digging Creek, and his carelessness lost us our funding. He kept very sloppy notes on the inventory, until no one was sure what had actually been uncovered. But the Roman ruins here in England are some of the most interesting in the world to me. They are remnants of one of the farthest corners of the great Roman Empire. England was the most distant outpost of Rome's imperial colonies. When we compare what we find here to ruins back in Italy, we can see if life was different for the Roman station in Britain. When work was called off for today, I took advantage of the holiday to explore some of England's other interesting sites. Having read about Stonehenge in ancient Roman writings, I could not resist the chance to see the famed standing stones.
Ready? Pick the clues that you think best show the truth about those Roman coins. Great. Now, if you think that one of the archaeologists stole 96 coins, pick that suspect. If you think there's been a misunderstanding and the coins are safe, pick the Roman coins. You got it! All the ruckus over the coins was for nothing. There were no coins missing at all. All of the archaeologists at the site had something nasty to say about each other, but you saw through all that to the plain facts. Mr. Smythe recorded the find of 100 denarii in the inventory. When we talked to him, he mentioned the find of a cache of coins worth 100 denarii. But Mr. Greaves only counted 4 coins. And when we talked to Mr. Bentley, he said they had uncovered 4 valuable Roman coins. The key to the mystery lay in the fact that the coins found at the tower were gold, not silver. In the library we learned that 1 gold Roman coin called an arius is worth 25 silver Roman coins called denarii. 4 times 25 makes 100, so the 4 gold coins were worth 100 denarii, just as Mr. Smythe told us and just as he wrote in his inventory. None of the coins were missing after all.